relevant real estate information in an entertaining way. Little rusty. Don't put any of that in. Ladies and gentlemen, this July 2026 St. John, New Brunswick real estate market update is going to be the most important video you watch on the St. John real estate market this year. Because in this video, I'm going to be breaking down the largest driver of our St. John real estate market over the last 5 years, which is our growing population, or was our growing population, and how the shift in the population is currently showing up and affecting what we're seeing even right now in July 2026. How's it going, everybody? My name is Brandon Vincent with eXp Realty. I've been actively selling real estate now for over 7 years with over 140 deals closed during that time. My goal on this channel is to bring you relevant real estate information in an entertaining way. If you do like the sound of that, do me a favor, hit the like, subscribe button, follow along for the journey. If you have any questions or comments on what you're seeing here in this video, I would love to hear from you below. I try to answer as many of the comments as I can, so let me know what you're thinking and if you have any ideas for any future videos. But without further ado, let's dive into this July 2026 real estate market update that's going over something very, very important. Did you know that New Brunswick is the second oldest province in the entire country, with 1 in 4 people in New Brunswick being 65 years of age or older? And for the first time in over 5 years, our population is starting to shrink again. I talked about this in last month's market update. Let's pull that clip up. For about 50 years, our net migration just bounced around, zero. It was really just ebbing and flowing right around the zero mark. Then around 2016, it starts climbing. And actually from 2021 to 2024, it absolutely explodes, peaking near 9,500 people in a single quarter coming to New Brunswick. And I just want you to keep in mind that this includes interprovincial migration and international immigration. Nothing in our historical records even comes close to this. That wave, all those new people arriving at once, is a big part of what drove our housing demand and drove our housing costs and housing prices up over the last few years. So understanding this chart here is critical to understanding the state of our housing market here in New Brunswick. So I know some people are thinking, Brandon, I came here for the real estate information. What does the population have to do with the real estate market? Well, it has everything to do with the real estate market, because at the end of the day, it's people buying homes. And the more people there are that are employed, that have money, the more buyers there are for properties. And the more people means that there's more potential options for more buyers. And if we had a massive influx over the last 5 years of people moving to New Brunswick, that had a major impact on our housing market, and we're now starting to see that trend change, which was one of the major drivers of our population growth, where the major drivers of those slow down, that leads to shifts in the housing market, which is what we're going to go over here today. And that's why this is so important. So when we're talking about the population, one thing that New Brunswick has that stands out is an aging population. Okay. We are the second oldest province in all of Canada. We have a median age of 44.6 years of age when the country has 40.6. So we're 4 years older here in New Brunswick than the median age of the entire country. And we're behind Newfoundland, who has a median age of 47.8 years. Now let's look at the age demographic, because here in New Brunswick, 1 out of 4 people are 65 years of age or older. That's 1 in 4. Let me say that again, okay? 1 in 4 New Brunswickers is 65 years of age or older. When in Canada, that number is about 1 in 5 people. Now, here's the thing. Having an older demographic is not the entire story, because the main part of the story is the population growth. This will be important later on, though. The reason population growth is so important is because over the last 10 years, we have seen positive population growth, and the majority of that is coming from the total net migration. More or less, we've seen a positive trajectory besides the last 2 quarters. And this chart here is a big contributing factor to our booming housing market over the last 5 years. So then what happened? Well, in 2024, the federal government cut immigration. They capped temporary residence and lowered the national immigration targets. New Brunswick's growth peaked in 2024, and we were adding people at 2.7% a year, which is extremely fast. Almost all of that was migration, people coming from other countries and coming from other provinces. Keep in mind, this was not births. This was almost 100% migration. And then almost instantly, in the second quarter of 2025, the population fell. It was our first decline in years and the 6th straight quarter of slowing growth for New Brunswick. And now here's another deeper part of the story here in New Brunswick, is that we've had 11 straight years with more deaths than births here in New Brunswick. Let me say that again. For 11 straight years here in New Brunswick, we have had more deaths than births consistently for over a decade. So if you took migration away over the last 10 years, our province would have actually shrunk. And I know right now, as I say that there's some potential buyers out there right now going, well, I wish that boom hadn't happened because I would have been able to get my foot in the door for $150,000. And then there's some current homeowners out there who bought in the last 5 years going, well, I'm very glad that boom happened because now I'm sitting on a ton of equity. And those are the different perspectives in the market that you see in the comments section of just about every real estate post. And according to the stats, this is not turning around on its own. The projections have seniors at more than 1/3 of the province by 2038. And across the whole country, the fastest growing group of people is over 85 years old. So we're aging faster than almost anywhere, and Atlantic Canada is leading the way. So everything I just talked about there is the what and why for what's going to be driving our real estate market in the coming years. And this is the proof that we're seeing it already here in our July numbers that we're about to go over. The sales are down. We had 223 sales compared to 255 a year ago. And single family homes, the bread and butter of our market, dropped even harder. They're down 16.2% from last July. And comparatively, homes are taking a little bit longer to sell than compared to last year. So last year, homes were on the market for roughly 21 days. This July, homes are sitting for roughly 27 days on market. So that may not sound like a lot, but it is a trend worth watching. We are seeing it cool. And now it's not cooling extremely fast, but it is starting to cool, which is great news. And if you're a buyer or a seller, make sure you stay tuned to the very end because I'm going to be going over my recommendations for you at the end of this video. So even the bidding wars are cooling down. On average, homes sold for 102.2% of the asking price. And over a year ago, it was roughly 106.4% of the asking price. So we're seeing the offers cooling down slightly on the bidding wars as well. And even our inventory is rebuilding. So for the month of July 2026, we hit 334 active listings. When back in 2024, we hit 605, which was the bottom for the months of July when it comes to active listings. That was the lowest that it's gone. So these numbers, even 734 as it's rebuilding, is still historically low, but we do see a trend now starting to grow year over year of rebuilding the inventory, which is causing that slight cool down here as well. And a big part of that is due to the slowdown of the population growth. Even our months of inventory is starting to creep back up for this time of year. We're at 3.3 months of inventory, when this time last year, we were at 2.8 months of inventory. Remember, as I've said before, anything 4 months or below for months of inventory is a seller's market. In between 4 and 6 months, you are in a balanced market. 6 months plus, you are in a buyer's market. So here's the part that trips a lot of people up, because because they hear that the market is cooling, so then they expect the same to be happening with the home prices. When, in reality, our average home price went up 8.2%. And our single family average price crossed over the $400,000 barrier. And that's up 10.7% here in St. John. So how does all this make sense? Sales are down, the days on market is up, the bidding wars are cooling, and the inventory is climbing, but prices are still rising. So let me break this down, because this is why I originally said this is the most important video that you can watch, because all the things that are currently going on, the sales, days on market, inventory, and offer strength, a lot of these are leading indicators as to what is going on, when the last thing to move is actually the price. Prices are lagging indicators for the leading indicators that I just mentioned. So before everybody starts jumping into the comments saying, finally, the market's crashing. I knew this was a bubble. I've been saying it for 7 years now. Even after everything that I've just shown you here, we are still in a seller's market here in St. John, where homes are still selling over asking. But it is so worth noting everything that I talked about in this video and keeping a very sharp eye on how the market adjusts with these major changes happening to our population, to our demographic, and everything that I talked about. So just to be clear, I'm not reading this as a market crash. I'm reading this as a market that is rebalancing after many years of being in a frenzy. So the population growth that we experienced between 2020 and 2024, that fueled our housing market into a frenzy when there was bidding wars and there was just insanity happening at every deal in the real estate market. Now we're shifting back to a balanced market. We're shifting back into a more normal market, I should say, more normality, not even balance, because here in St. John, we're still in a seller's market, but we're shifting to some more normalcy. And what that means for buyers or sellers is extremely important. So what does this mean for my buyers out there? Well, first of all, I want you to know that you finally have some leverage in your corner. Even though here in St. John, we are still in a seller's market, there's currently less demand for each property out there than ever before over the last 5 years. Okay, so this is right now one of the best times to get your foot in the door. If you are a buyer out there and you're waiting for things to cool, this could be the sign that you're looking for. In saying that, there's still going to be some competition, but there's not as much as there has been. And it's not as much of a frenzy. And I've had myself a lot of good opportunities with my buyers to get them properties that they want at a very competitive price that they're happy with. So that's been incredible to deal with over the last few months. Now, for the sellers out there, don't panic, because this doesn't mean that you've lost your opportunity. What it means is that pricing is now more important than ever before. I say just about every single video. But as the market conditions shift away from the seller side, which we're still in the seller side, but it's just getting less and less, it becomes more critical to price properly, to market properly, to make sure that you're getting the most exposure for your property within the first week that it's listed, doing an open house, door knocking to the neighbors, letting them know about what's going on, getting as much excitement going, videos, blasting that all over social media, exposing that to as many eyes as possible. You want to get as much interest in a short period of time as possible. We're still using the seller direction form here, and it's still drumming up multiple offers when the properties are priced right, when they're advertised and marketed properly as well. And for my investors out there, this is an opportunity for you as well, because the slower demand on the buyer side means that there's more opportunity for you to come in and get the deals that you've been looking for over the last few years that have been nearly impossible to find. So as more inventory starts coming up, some deals will start popping up, and it's a matter of acting quick on them and being ready and having everything lined up for your investment once these properties hit the market. Because once they do, the ones that are still good deals, bringing in good numbers, they're still going to sell fairly quick because there's still a lot of eyes on New Brunswick. But now more than ever before, you have more leverage in knowing that the demand has slowed compared to the last few years. So I hope you found this video useful. Thank you so much for watching to the very end. Do me a favor, drop a comment below. Let me know what your favorite part was. Did anything in here surprise you in the housing market here in St. John and New Brunswick, which I'm going to be making a video next week on the effects all over New Brunswick, because it's not only here in St. John, this is happening all over our country. And we have some great stats to look at for here in New Brunswick as to how it's affecting New Brunswick as well. So thank you so much. Hope you have a great day.